How to Answer a Fool According to His Folly, Part 86. You may be familiar with the passage in Proverbs which talks about how to answer a fool, and one of the first step is not to adopt the so-called neutral ground of an apologist who thinks that given good, reasonable, rational arguments that somehow rationality and reason are neutral, and to adopt this common ground approach. You think you're going to win an argument with somebody. It rarely ever works that way, because nobody is neutral. Everybody comes to an argument with a certain set of presuppositions. And so this is why the writer of Proverbs says in chapter 26, verse 4, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him." That is, don't be dragged into the debate with him and allow him to set the stage for his understanding of the argument. This is a common approach to debate. Verse 5 says, "Answer a fool as his folly deserves, lest he be wise in his own eyes." And what you do is you adopt the operating assumptions of the unbeliever and throw them back at him and force him to live consistently with them. Well, I have to record a couple of extra shows this week, and I was providentially, some fool emailed me. It was really quite good, and this was his question, and you can tell that hidden in this question is not something that he was actually wanting an answer to. I've been doing this for a long time. You can spot these types of things, and he said, "Don't you think it evil that you scare humans with the notion of hell? Sort of like a mafia boss who has others, the devil, do his dirty work so he doesn't have to soil his hands." So this is what I wrote. I said, "Dear Mike, where have we," I'm speaking of American Vision, "scared humans with the notion of hell? Now, if there is a hell and people may be going there, don't you think it would be okay to warn them of the place? We have sirens for tornadoes, flood warnings, hurricane warnings, etc. You get the point." Well, I knew that Mike wasn't really looking for any particular answer, and so I got a couple of emails back from him, and his last email to me, I'm sure while I'm doing this, he's probably working on another one. It was this rhetoric, blah, 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 no real substantive argument at all. And so this is how I responded. "I've been dealing with people like you for years. Mocking is the best you guys can do. There isn't a single argument in your email below. It's all rhetoric. You emailed me. I didn't email you. You asked a question. I answered it in a cordial way. Of course, I knew your motive, and I knew it wouldn't do any good, but I try to answer every person who emails me. In most cases, it's not a waste of time. In other cases, as with you, I'll use it for another article or another video. In fact, when I'm done with this email, I'm going to the studio, and I'm in the studio now giving what my response was. If hell exists and I'm not warning people about it, then I would be worse than a Hitler." He uses Hitler and his atrocities in one of his so-called arguments. "Your answer is, well, hell does not exist. End of debate. Of course, you weren't interested in an answer, and if I attempted to answer you on this issue, it would not matter since there is no one who can defeat you." As this was his comment. He's debated all these people and he's never been defeated. "The issue is not ultimately about hell. The issue is by what authority? If I had set forth an answer as to why hell exists, then you would only move on to another issue ad infinitum. If there is no just recompense after death, if there is no ultimate judge, then what Adolf Hitler did this side of the grave is irrelevant and morally inconsequential." And I put morally in quotation marks because within a Darwinian evolutionary worldview, an atheistic worldview, there is no real such thing as morality. "All he did was eliminate chemical bags of meat and bones. At death, you and he will be nothing more than dust in the wind. At this moment, given your assumptions about reality, you are nothing more than wet meat and bones animated by electricity." Richard Dawkins sums it up nicely. It is the plain truth that we are cousins of chimpanzees, somewhat more distant cousins of monkeys, more distant cousins still of aardvarks and manatees, yet more distant cousins of bananas and turnips. Continue the list as long as desired. So Dawkins himself takes us back all the way through the evolutionary past, and really you got to go all the way back to the evolutionary past to a prebiotic soup, and even back further than that, just to basic random chemicals on the landscape that evolutionists can't really explain where they came from. Your so-called acts of goodness, borrowed from a Christian worldview, I might add, will not matter to the worms that consume your flesh. So what does it matter what we do this side of the grave when at death you and Hitler are moral equals? You can try to dispute this, and I'm sure you will try, since there is no one who can defeat you. Is morality determined by the majority, a group of philosopher kings like you and your ilk? Does morality evolve? Maybe Hitler was ahead of his time. How do physical particles, our essence given your assumptions, generate moral values? Didn't we get here by killing weaker biological units? Given the assumptions of evolution, we most certainly did. Was it wrong when our prebiotic soup ancestors did it? When did it stop being wrong, and why? Why is it wrong today? Killing is fundamental to our nature, as one sociobiologist put it. Rape was also considered normative. Dawkins is helpful again to make the point. In the universe of blind physical forces and genetic replication, some people are going to get hurt and other people are going to get lucky. And you won't find any rhyme or reason to it, nor any justice. The universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is at the bottom no design, no purpose, no evil, and no good. Nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. DNA neither knows nor cares. DNA just is, and we dance to its music. Now, according to Dawkins and according to you, Mike, Hitler was just dancing to the music of his DNA. And how dare you judge him? And I put judge in quotation marks because you're simply a biological unit that has gotten here by evolution. There's nothing hanging over you to judge you. There is no judge of the universe who at death is going to determine whether you've done anything right or wrong this side of the grave. Who are you? You are just another chemical bag of meat and bones. Get off Hitler's back. His DNA made him do it. So please don't bother me with your irrelevant arguments in a universe of blind physical forces. Your comments are little more than, in the words of B.F. Skinner, noises that come from your mouth. And so this is how you answer a fool according to his folly. Take his operating assumptions. Man, there's no God. There are no rules of the universe. Any rules that we have today are made up. You can't judge a Hitler. You can't judge anybody. At death, we're all going to meet the same end. We're going to be just dust in the wind. Our bags of chemical meat and bones are going to dissipate. They're going to be worm food. So why should we be good this side of the grave? In fact, you can't even determine what constitutes good this side of the grave. So Mike, I'm waiting for another email from you, and if it's any good, if it's as been good as the last ones you've done, maybe I'll do another show.
American Vision is proud to present this year's Worldview Super Conference, July 21st through 24th at North Metro Church, Marietta, Georgia. For more information, visit conference.americanvision.org. That's conference.americanvision.org.